everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is video 3 in my food prepping series, and this is one that I was really excited to film for you. Well, to be honest with you, I'm excited to film all of them, but this one in particular because it was kind of recipes that I haven't actually done for such a long time, and one of them was a new recipe for me as well. So today we're going to be making 2 beef dishes, and we're going to be making chili con carne out of one and then meatballs out of another. I did actually throw in a third dish towards the end of the video just as a little extra for you guys, so you'll have to wait and see what that is. So I really hope that you enjoy, and let's get cooking. So you know the drill by now. Let's start by preheating the oven. I'm going to put this on 200, and I too thought it was a little bit strange to preheat an oven for meatballs. I was going to fry them, but apparently putting them in the oven is really easy and cooks them nicely, and then also there's not as much oil used, so I'm going to use that today and see how it works. So the ingredients you're going to need for the recipe, I've put the stuff for the chili con carne this side and then for the bolognese meatballs this side. So for the chili con carne you're going to need 1 red kidney beans, and then you're going to need chopped tomatoes. I've got 2 tins of this. I've then got chili con carne powder. This is from Aldi. It was really inexpensive. Then I've got white onions, and we're actually going to use 1.5 for the chili con carne and then 1.5 for the bolognese. So moving on to the bolognese, you're going to need a bolognese sauce. This one's also from Aldi, and it was again really cheap. The entire jar is only 200 calories, so per portion will be just 50 calories, which is fab. Then you're going to need any seasoning that you like. I've gone for garlic powder, and then I've also gone for basil. Both of these again from Aldi, about 70p per jar. Then you're going to need 2 eggs as well, and these ones again are from Aldi. And then finally you're going to need passata, again from Aldi, and this is going to be used for both recipes. I'm going to put a little bit of this into the con carne as well, and then into the bolognese. So the recipes I'm going for today are going to make 4 portions of each recipe, just for your reference. And then finally you're going to need your mincemeat. So I've gone for 2 packets of 500 grams, so 1 packet is per recipe, so 1 packet is 4 servings basically, so 125 grams per serving. And I have gone for the reduced fat steak mince, and this is from Asda's. So I'm going to start by chopping up the onions because these are going to be a fundamental item for both recipes, so I may as well get that part out of the way, get the part out of the way that makes your eyes water, because I hate this part. So I've actually got one of these, everyone, by the way, and these are handy because you just simply pull this and it will chop the onion for you. So I'm just going to quickly get rid of the skin, and then we can pop them into there and let that do all the chopping for us. So that's really handy. And just before putting it into that dicer, I'm just going to chop this into 4, just because we want it to, you know, have a chance to actually chop in. We don't want to break the thing. And then once they're chopped, I'm just going to pop them into a bowl on the side, and then we can use them for later. So I'm going to start by making the meatballs. So we're going to get the entire packet of the reduced fat steak mince, 500 grams, and pop this into a mixing bowl. I'm then going to add in 1/4 of the diced onions. So this is going to be approximately 3/4 of an onion. So I'm going to pop that in now. That's going to go into the meatballs and taste delicious. I'm now going to add in my garlic granules, and I haven't got a particular amount that I put in here. It's all dependent on what you prefer. So I'm personally going to put about 3 tablespoons worth, just because I do like it to be quite garlicky, but it's totally your personal preference. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the basil too. Again, if you don't want it too strong, don't put too much in. I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons worth, but I do this all by eye. And then next you're going to add your eggs in, and I'm going to add 2 eggs into this. And now here's all the mixture, and all you want to do now is mix this together with your hands. Yeah, gross, I know. I'm going to put some gloves on before I do this to stop me getting it all under my long acrylics. So I've just put some greaseproof paper down on a baking tray, and then I'm going to make 16 meatballs out of this so that I have 4 meatballs per portion. I have to say that using egg and not adding breadcrumbs or flour does make the ingredients a lot more sticky, but I feel like it's going to be absolutely fine once it bakes in the oven. Obviously the purpose of this recipe is to keep it low fat, low carbs, so I'm going to try and eliminate things such as the breadcrumbs where they're not needed, so I feel like this is going to work perfectly fine. So I'm just going to roll this into 16 meatballs now and then place it on the tray. So here they are. I'm not sure if you could tell when I was putting them together, but I was basically going to make way more than 16 with how tiny they were. So I decided to just add the mixture to them to make them all the same sort of size, even though this one looks pathetic in comparison to the rest. But yeah, I stuck with 16 in the end. So we're going to pop them in the oven now. It says online to do it for 20 to 30 minutes. So after 20 minutes, I'm going to check them and then maybe turn them over and then give them another 10 minutes. So whilst the meatballs are in the oven and we're waiting for them to cook, I'm going to put some olive oil into a pan, about 2 tablespoons worth, and we're going to make the sauce whilst we're waiting for that to cook. So what we're going to do is we're going to use about 1 onion's worth, which is diced, and then I'm going to put this in here and let that cook and brown, and then we can make the sauce. And just don't forget to keep stirring these because we don't want them to burn, so just every minute or so just give them a little bit of a stir, just so they cook nicely all the way through. So the meatballs have been in now for about 15 minutes, so let's give them a look to see how they're doing. So as you can see, they're cooking quite nicely. I am going to turn them over now though, just because we want the bottoms to cook well. They are quite soft, everyone, so be careful, because I have a feeling they're going to start breaking if you're too hard with them. And as you can see, all the fat as well has dripped out, so this is a really good way of getting rid of some of that fat. So for the bolognese sauce, we're going to start by adding in the bolognese sauce. So easy, just pour that in to where the onions have cooked. So at this stage we're going to put it down to a 5, just because we don't want it to be too hot, as this mixture is going to be cooking for quite some time, so the temperature really doesn't need to be that high. Then we're going to add in half of the passata into this, and this will make the mixture a little bit more runny, and then add some more sauce to it as well. And then at this stage, it's really up to you as to what you want to add into it, because, you know, everyone likes their own spices, but I'm just going to add in a bit more basil, like we did with the meatballs. And then I'm also going to add in a little bit of garlic as well. And then, to add a tiny bit of a kick, I'm actually going to add in some Cajun powder as well. I've literally decided this last minute, but I'm going to add in a little bit of that. Not too much, because we know it's quite spicy. So that'll be enough of that. And then we're just going to mix it all together and then just allow this to heat up. The meatballs have only got another 10 minutes or so, so once they're done, we're going to then pop them into this sauce and then just let them simmer for about 20 odd minutes, just so that the sauce goes all nicely in them and they're all nice and juicy. So let's pop the lid on there now. So it's been 20 minutes, so I'm going to take the meatballs out of the oven now, because they are looking quite done if you ask me. And even if they're not completely done, which I think they are, they're going to cook in the sauce anyway, so I'm happy with that. So let's take them out of the oven. And then I'm just going to pop them into the pan with the sauce. They're a lot more firm now, everyone, as well. Now they've cooked properly, so I don't feel like they're going to fall apart as easily as before.
And I'll tell you what, guys, I know you're not here right now, but oh, if you could smell the smell of Italia coming from Hazelwood's kitchen.
Well, you know, I am part Italian and all that. And as you can see on the tray here, look how much fat is left behind. And these are the low-fat mincemeat. So cooking them in the oven helps to eliminate the fat, basically, and helps reduce it. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to simply stir these in. Just still be gentle with them. We don't want to break them, but I feel like they're not going to break too easily, as I said. So just stir them into the mixture so they're all covered in sauce. And then I'm just going to pop the lid back on these and basically just leave them to it for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, and let them cook alongside the chili con carne, because, you know, they're both going to have as much time as needed, really. So pop them on, go and watch a film or something, and come back to them in half an hour and we'll check them. So unfortunately we're down to the sad tiny little pan. It's the last one I have left. So I'm going to add half of a packet of a 500 grams spaghetti packet, so basically 250 grams. So I'm going to add that in, and that's going to make 4 portions, as we don't want too many carbs. So I believe this is how you do spaghetti. I think you just add it to the pan like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't actually made it before. And then I'm just going to add in the hot water into here. So the spaghetti's going well so far. It's looking like it's going into the pan nicely. So for the chili con carne recipe, we're going to start by heating up a pan, and I'm going to set this to quite a high temperature and then put some olive oil in. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons worth in. I do this all by eye. And we're going to start by cooking the mincemeat. So I've got my 500 grams. I'm going to put this all into here. And then I'm also going to add some of my onion into here as well. So I'm adding about half an onion worth into here, and we're just going to let that cook whilst the mincemeat's cooking too, so that it goes nice and brown. And then I'm just going to give that a nice stir now to break that all up as well. And then I'm just going to leave this to cook. Every few minutes I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir, just to make sure that it doesn't burn.
Look at that, folks.
And by the way, everyone, I actually do everything at the same time. So whilst the meatballs are in the oven, I'm starting to do the sauce for the meatballs, and then I'm doing the bolognese as well. So it's really achievable to do both things at once. It's fine, it's easy to multitask because it's quite similar in what we're doing for the two recipes. So just keep that in mind, that you definitely can make both recipes at the same time. So once you're at the stage where the meat is pretty much cooked, you want to add in your chopped tomatoes. So I'm going to add 2 tins of chopped tomatoes into this. And we're then going to reduce the heat a little bit too, because we're now going to allow the ingredients to just cook for quite a long time. So the current heat is 7 out of 9. I'm going to put that down to a 5. So I'm just going to put that down to a 5. We're going to give that a mix. And then straight after putting in the chopped tomatoes, I'm then going to put in the tin of kidney beans. Make sure you get them all in. They like to stick at the bottom. And then we're just going to stir the kidney beans into the mixture. Then you're going to want to add in your chili con carne powder. So I'm going to put the entire sachet of this into the mixture. And this is what gives it its flavour. And then I'm also going to add in a little bit of basil too, which is from Aldi. Just put that in. Then I'm also going to add in a little bit of garlic granules into this as well. That was probably more than a little, guys. Then we're going to mix all of this together. Make sure you're thorough, because the chili con carne powder is quite lumpy, as you can see. So you want to make sure that's all mixed in nicely. And then at this stage, it's totally up to you, but if you want the mixture to be a bit more runny, because as you can see this is really, really thick, you can then add in some passata. So I am going to add some of this in. I'm going to add in half of this packet, and this is a 500-gram packet. So then just mix that in, and you'll see that this makes it a lot more runny. So this really helps just to give the mixture a bit more juice, a bit more sauce.
Dripping in sauce! Dripping in sauce!
So I much prefer it like this, so I probably think you lot will like it like this as well. So what we're going to do now is leave it on 5. We're going to put the lid on here and just let it cook basically for about 40 minutes or so. You can leave it longer, it's totally up to you. Just wait for it to boil and then just give it a check, because we don't want it to, well, it's not going to be like water pasta that's going to spill everywhere, is it? So yeah, leave it on 5, but just give it a stir every 10 minutes or so to ensure the bottom bit doesn't stick, and then we'll check it around 40-minute mark and see if it's all done. So I wasn't actually going to include this, but I thought I may as well as a little added extra for you guys. So this is a really, really quick barbecue chicken recipe. So all you need is chicken breast. So I've got 5 chicken breasts in here. Then you're going to need a Maggi bag, and this is the sticky and sweet barbecue bag. And then you're going to need 3 peppers. So I've gone for red, yellow and green. So all you're going to do is chop your chicken up, put it into the bag, chop your peppers up and put them into the bag again. And then all you simply do is you tear this bag open, which has all the powder in there. Put this into the bag. Then you pick the bag up, give it a bit of a stir to start with. And then you're meant to add 100 ml of water. I just do it by eye. I do put a little bit more than 100 ml just because there's a lot of chicken in here, and this creates a sauce as well. And then just simply mix all that together until you're happy, and then pop it in the oven for 45 minutes, and that's a really good way of making delicious barbecue chicken. So then all I do is lay it on the side like that, pop it in the oven at 200 for 45 minutes, check it at the 45-minute mark, perhaps give it another 5 to 10 if you want to, but 45 will cook it enough. And that is absolutely perfect to have as lunches throughout the week. That'll make 5 portions. So it's been another 40 minutes and it's all cooked to perfection. So we're now going to start dishing it all up. So here's the spaghetti that I made, and this is actually for 4 portions. There's a hell of a lot here. I didn't realise how much it was going to make. This is only about 200 calories per portion. So you could actually probably split this between even more days if you wanted to have a lower carb intake. But I'm happy with 200 calories of carb for my lunch. So I'm just going to split this between 4 tubs. So here's the meatball mixture. As you can see, it looks really, really nice, or in my opinion anyway. So I'm just going to use a little ladle thing to dish this up. I wish I had a larger one, but I don't, unfortunately. So we're going to be putting in 4 per tub, as that's the portion size that we're going to go with. And this actually made so much sauce as well. So this is going to be like a really juicy lunch. And then just pour the leftover juice onto the actual pasta, just so that it has that to soak into it, because it's going to be in the fridge for a couple of days, so it'll be quite nice. And then next we're going to be dishing up the chili con carne. So I'm just going to be using basmati rice for this. And these are about £1 each from Home Bargains. So actually no, it's like £2 for 4 I think. So break it all up, and then we're going to use half a packet per tub. And as I say, this will make 4 portions. And then now it's time to dish up the chili con carne. So as you can see, it does separate a little bit. So just make sure that you give it a nice mix before putting it in the tubs, because you know, you want it to be all nice and mixed in evenly. And I have to say, everyone, this smells delicious. Thank me later if you like this recipe. Anyway, we're going to use the same ladle as last time, and then I'm just going to start spreading this between the 4 tubs. So I'm just going to start by putting 2 ladles per tub. I feel like I've made a lot of mixture, everyone. Like, even though this is actually quite low in calories and, you know, low fat and low carb, etc., there's a hell of a lot in here. So this might even do more than the 4 portions that I said about, which is really good, because you can always freeze some and leave it for another time if you feel like you've overcooked. If you freeze it, you can actually use it up to 3 months, so that's really handy if you want to do like a big food prep. So I've actually decided to leave this lot behind, so as you can see there's probably another 2 to 3 portions in here, because I'm just not going to eat that. Like, look how full these tubs are, everyone. That's obviously enough. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So I just put the chicken into these 2 tubs, and as you can see here, it all is done. There's a hell of a lot of food here, everyone. What would you prefer to eat most? Let me know in the comments below. So that was the end of episode 3 in my food prepping series. I really hope you enjoyed. Please do let me know below if there's any other foods that you'd love for me to cook and prep for you, because I'm so up for it. I really enjoy these type of videos. So thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.